Just when people start to forget about the disaster that was the Saints Row reboot, Volition decides to do something that makes everyone mad all over again. Back when the game launched, they decided to release a DLC expansion pass. You were supposed to get future DLC if you bought it, which for $30, it wasn't cheap, but Volition has decided to make everyone angry by announcing a new DLC that isn't included with this pass, and they are getting roasted for it. I have a bunch of different things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month, or support the channel via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So this tweet thread was of course put out by the official Saints Row Twitter account. It says, "Merry Saintsmas. Celebrate the holiday season in Sant'Eliso with the Saints Row holiday DLC out now on all platforms. It says Festive Felonies is free to all players, but Merry Saintsmas is available to buy separately." Now, I of course didn't purchase this game. I didn't want to support it after the disaster that happened leading up to the launch with developers attacking us and the official Twitter account attacking us. I decided I was not going to monetarily support this game at launch, and a lot of other people decided that as well. But this game does have a fan base. It does have individuals who decided to give it a chance and kept their pre-orders, people who wanted to see what Volition could create for us. But unfortunately, the few people that do actually like this game and care about it have started turning against this company now, because people are furious over the fact that they paid for a DLC expansion pass and they are not getting DLC with that expansion pass. I did talk a couple of weeks ago about how they released hundreds of bug updates, which is good, okay? I am all for companies fixing their games if they're broken and buggy and glitchy, but people were very underwhelmed with the fact that the game's been out for a couple of months. There's been no announcements on content that's supposed to be releasing, because of course people have been playing the base game for months at this point. And when this DLC got announced, it seems like, yes, some people were pretty excited for it, but then they found out that it was, to buy separately. And a lot of people are questioning, why the hell did I buy a DLC pass? Because as you can see on the Microsoft Store, Saints Row Expansion Pass, it is a $30 pass, which definitely isn't cheap, especially for a game that cost $60 at launch that now only costs $30. Because of course it went down for Black Friday and it's been down for the holidays, but people were pretty upset to learn that this DLC doesn't come in the DLC pass. And of course, they are getting absolutely roasted for it on Twitter. Now, this is a holiday DLC, and typically holiday DLCs are separate from normal DLC for most game releases. But at this point, people are just desperate for content. The people that are trying to stay positive about this title would take basically anything, and they don't want to have to pay more money for another expansion when they already own the pass. They haven't even gotten one official DLC, never mind this, where they're clearly grasping at consumers to buy their products. They must be desperate. We know that this game didn't financially do what they expected it to do. Even the Embracer CEO said that it was a disappointment by all accounts, but as you're going to see in these replies, people are very upset with this current situation. Bro thinks that he's on the team. People are still savagely roasting this reboot, which of course I think is hilarious. This was a disappointment by all accounts, in my opinion. I love Saints Row, but I just could not get on board with this game. There was no way that I was going to support it at launch. I've said when it goes down to $10, maybe I would pick it up because it's only $10, but there's no way I'm going to pay more than that. So I got the expansion pass and all previous DLCs are included in it except this. Why is that? Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. If you're going to put out a DLC pass, people should get all of the DLC for a game. At launch, people shelled out $90 for just the base edition of the game and this pass. They should be getting all of the content. People shouldn't be forced to buy something separately. Even their DLC was better before. Shame on you for the trash you've become. Saints Row 4, How the Saints Save Christmas. There are some very nostalgic images here, and I know that people weren't big fans of Saints Row 4 just because it went in a crazy different direction. It was a sci-fi game, but I would take that any day over this reboot garbage, and I think most people would as well. Since I got banned for being uncivil on Reddit, I'll say the same thing again here. Since for some reason it's uncivil to feel scammed, crazy how a game that's supposed to be centered around crazy and inappropriate shit has had a community that's become so sensitive. It is very unfortunate that you can't really talk about Saints Row on any official channels without getting banned and getting called, of course, a hater by the community managers. If you criticize this game at all, you are a toxic, terrible person. According to the social media manager, you are a terrorist, which of course is disgusting, but it has led to people going online and just attacking the Saints Row accounts as much as possible because they haven't allowed us to really talk anywhere else about this game. No one is going to forget about the horrific launch of the game because all of this is not going to fix it. And like I mentioned, they have put out some patches for the game, which I do give them some credit for, but the game shouldn't have launched that buggy and that broken in the first place, and now you're just adding fuel to the fire. Now you are just upsetting people even more than they already were. I mean, I've talked about the review scores many times on the channel, but as you can see over on Metacritic, right now, one of the versions of the games is sitting at a 1.5 user score. That is abysmal. And if you click on any of these, there's none that are over a 3.0. People are extremely upset with the current state of this game. And, of course, I talked about it when the game launched, but the Saints Row reboot had been relentlessly mocked by independent reviewers. It was said that it's an abomination, that it will go down as the worst game of 2022, and now that 2022 is almost over, I definitely think that it is safe to say that this was the worst game of the year. It was one major disappointment after another with this title, and they never even tried to make it what consumers wanted. At this point, I don't really see a way that they can make consumers happy. They have upset everyone so many times. I think they just need to cut their losses and say, hey, listen, we're gonna push out the rest of the DLC that we have, but that's it. We're gonna end support pretty quickly. Yeah, that will upset the rest of the fan base that they have, but I just don't think that they can save this game at this point. But as you can see, they've put out a new holiday DLC that isn't included with the DLC pass, and people are pretty upset. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.